It's fucking yellow. This fan game, like the sequel, is amazing. In this video, I play the pacifist ending and will be telling you the tale. Game begins in the Decayed section and I find an amphibian. Then, this goat lady saves my life. She shows me a puzzle, but when I go to do it, I fall down a hole and am stuck. The mama goat tells me to stay put, so as to not find the mean beasts. But I leave like a boss. I then found this blossom named Flowey. I dwell upon his decimation, but he has such a big smile. Flowey then explains to me how things happen in this place. He tells me how to dodge bullets and how to save. If I died, my Flowey acquaintance would help me. He also tells me that to leave, I would have to face the Lamb King, who has been killing humans. As I continue, I find this cloaked fell who thinks I'm a ghost. I then find him again at a damaged passing. I next find a bat behemoth that teaches me how to behave. I again see the hooded giant and follow them without consent. They uncloak themselves and expose that it is a beast named Dolv. Dolv attacks my spookiness as the exit is blocked, but then Dolv is apologetic and we become allies. My amigo lets me in his house, but once I'm done, I say goodbye to Dolv and leave. I then show up in a snowy place and see this blue fowl making a puzzle. The puzzle is light and I pass beyond the gate without difficulty. I then come upon a gay fabled pony, only to leave and bump into a salesman named Mo, who attempts to sell me some junk. I buy all of it. To add to the oddities, I find a gang of cups who make me play find the ball. I win and ditch the cups and come to see the old X-Mascot play a new ploy to catch me. I get past it and do a lava ball puzzle like I did a while ago. I then speak to the big blue jay who tells me V has to follow the noble knight code and V attacks me, and then tells me V's name. V eventually comes to the conclusion that V might get laid off because V held back in the fight. And V decides to exempt me and hopes that nobody will find out V messed up. The Yap Phoenix then showed me how I could escape on a boat. The boat was supposed to take me to Hotland, the home of the Beast King. But the boat was demolished and I ended up in a desolate sandland to unhappily meet Mo again. Now he was selling ice fucking tea. Yeah, I buy it. Continuing on, I go into a cave and buy a pickaxe that stomps on use. I go on to do a puzzle, evade an avalanche, mount a wagon, do a second puzzle, and then mount a lift to the top of the mountain and meet a dancing man. He loved my dancing, so I was given the go-ahead and took a lift back down the mountain and saw my beaked acquaintance again. V apologizes about the boat and invites me into a town. And we come upon a gang called the Feisty Five that consists of Eddie, Mooch, Stinky, Ace, and the head honcho, Twinkle. I'm abducted to the disappointment of the chicken. But Twinkle tells me he wants me to join the Feisty Five. We went to the town salon and I became acquainted with all the beasts in town. One fox asks what Twinkle was doing with a human. She thinks it is funny, so she complies with Twinkle's scheme. Twinkle subsequently lets me go out into town once he is done announcing me to the townsfolk. Outside the salon, the fox initiates chit-chat, apologizing about Twinkle's antics and telling me its name. I then go back to Twinkle instead of seeing the town. Twinkle astonishingly makes me deputy, but says that I have to be taught to become a deputy. The mission he assigns me is a deadly duel. Just kidding. So then I got a new gun and a new hat and did the actual missions. Then, whilst Twinkle was getting my badge made, the Feisty Five challenged me because they happened to be jealous of my accomplishment and had to do intense lessons to join the gang. So I am attacked. But whilst fighting, Twinkle comes back and the gang gets into a debate about the fact that Twinkle is acting odd. Then, one by one, the Feisty Five announce that they will leave the gang because of the way Twinkle is acting. Twinkle leaves, and when I go to find him, he blames it all on me and attacks me. In the fight, I'm tied up, but eventually I get him to shoot his own lasso and I am untied. Twinkle then hits me with his attacks, sometimes shooting so fast that time slows down. Eventually, I get Twinkle down to having only one bullet left, and I yield. Then, the fox finds us, and she gives an honest talk to Twinkle. She tells him that nobody hates him, but he hasn't been acting like himself. Lastly, the devious fox says she has something to say, but I stay behind, and the pigeon finds me. The pigeon says V has to go back to Viz's post to not lose Viz's job. When I come to the steam gate, the fox tells me and Twinkle that in a time of sadness, it had given away its only child, Kaneko, to some people in Hotland. She then says she wanted to get the child back, and that the fastest way to get to the Hotlands is the Steam Valley. Since I wanted to go to the Hotlands, I left with the canine and leave behind Twinkle to maintain the town. We then do some puzzles and span some obstacles until we come upon a machine named Axis. Axis exists to save the Steam Valley and stop people invading it. Axis then collapses the tile beneath us, and we fall into a place that has us make a companion machine to give to Axis to amuse him the next time we see him. And take a lift on a pink lava lake, and at the end of it, we find Mo again. But I'm all out of money! Then, the duo of me and the Canidid go into a hall, which Axis pops up in and chases us. We eventually get away enough to hide in closets. But just as we leave the hiding spot, Axis finds us and chases us again. Now we think to deploy the companion bot, but Axis doesn't like it. Finally, Foxy immobilizes him and we left. The fox then tells me about its child, and we go on to beat obstacles. Amazingly, we found a giant machine seedsman, who is difficult to defeat since I didn't have any healing. I made many attempts to beat it without healing, but because I failed, I decided to get healing items. Funnily enough, I then beat it without using a single one. As we move on, we get employed to a mill so that we can go on in the expedition. We then find documents about the fox's husband, along with a needed lift code. We fiddle with the device, and then Axis splits up me and the sly fox. Axis gives me a junk weapon so that he can attack me, but I can use it as a shield to save me in his onslaught. Whilst the Vulpine fox attempts to get into the fight. Eventually, my companion can join me, and we defeat Axis. To save functioning capabilities, Axis disables his edgy emotions, allowing us to use the companion bot to escape him. As me and my acquaintance head into a lift, Twinkle and Eddie find us. They say they wanted to have a joyful function at the fox's house, but they found a hidden basement. Twinkle questions the evil fox, and then she flees into the lift. Twinkle follows the sneaky fox, and Eddie takes me back home. At the town, Stinky had contacted the pheasant, who also joins us. Eddie told us of all that he had found, but said it was confusing to him. So me and the blue tail checked it out. We found tapes that contained footage of the fox's husband talking about his scientific tests. The husband says that with a human soul, a special kind of beast called a boss beast could be made mighty and help beast kind live on. He also said that because of his blood, Kaneko is one of these boss beasts. Lastly, he asked his wife to continue his study, but leave Kaneko out of it. When we saw all the tapes, we told the gang what we had seen, and decided that the indigo-winged beast and I should go get the fox and Twinkle. Then, me and my quad companion met on top of a building, and we went off to find the two. We found them in a discussion that quickly became heated. Then suddenly, the wicked fox hit my winged knight and Twinkle, and then a fight between me and the fox began. This fight was awfully difficult. It used attacks we've seen like Twinkle's lasso in the shape of a black hole, but combined them with its own attacks to give this fight added difficulty. Once you defeat its second stage, you see a flashback that shows Chunjin lying sickly talking to the candidate about having to watch the tapes, but without the two noticing, Kaneko was at the exit, listening. Once you beat the guilty fox's next stage, you get a flashback to Kaneko watching the tapes. When the mutt catches Kaneko, Kaneko says she wants to help, and when the two discuss the subject, the mutt then injects Kaneko with the blue soul, and then Kaneko collapses. Once you defeat the vicious fox's last stage and decimate its mask, the fox sees what it has done and asks me to end it all. I exempt the fox and see Twinkle and Blue Jay wake up. All of us excuse the fox's actions, but when we discuss what to do with me, I come to the decision on what had to be done. I say goodbye and hand them my soul. The end.